Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin tonight's City Council meeting for the City of Gardena for Tuesday, March 10th, 2020. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Noting the presence of all council members.
Madam City Attorney, Assistant Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session?
No, Madam Mayor, there's no reportable action taken tonight.
Okay. Tonight, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, it will be led by Miss Sydney and her brother Grayson Gales from Chapman Elementary School. Immediately following that, we will have invocation, and it will be led by the Reverend Edwin R. Seguinza, who is the pastor of Iglesia Roca Forte Church. So at this time, please stand.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Reverend, please continue standing.
Good evening. Mayor, Tasha, good evening. And the members of the board, chief of police and officers, thank you for letting us be here today to share the word of the Lord. Today, allow me to read chapter 31 of Proverbs. This chapter describes the type of woman like you, Major, a woman of wisdom. And I'm going to read it in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The sayings of King Lemuel, an oracle his mother taught him. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all.
Good evening again, everyone. It's a privilege to pray in this place for the members and the mayor. Let's pray. Almighty God, tonight we are gathered in this room. Here alone, the authorities of the city of Gardena. I want to ask for your blessing for each one of them. Please give them your wisdom so that the citizens sees policemen, firefighters are seen with high esteem in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. If I can have our two pledgers come back to the front. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by two students from Chapman Elementary School, Sydney Gales, who was in the 5th grade, and Grayson Gales, who was in the 2nd grade. Sydney and Grayson are sister and brother, and they're both model citizen students. Sydney is part of student council. So tonight we're going to begin with Sydney. Can you tell us who brought you guys here tonight?
Today, our mom and our older brother brought us here.
Where are they at? Right there. Give them a round of applause, everyone. And is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for letting us do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, thank you. And Grayson, is there anything you'd like to say?
No.
No?
But thank you.
Okay, let the big sister do all the talking. Put all the work on her. Well, thank you guys both for leading us. You guys did a great job. We look forward to you guys coming back in the future and possibly leading us in the pledge, and continue being great model students at your school. So everyone, please give them a round of applause. Thank you. You guys can take your seat now. If we could have the Reverend Edwin Siginza please come back to the front. So tonight's invocation was led by the Reverend Edwin R. Siginza, who is the pastor at Iglesia Roca Fuerte, which means in English South Rock Church. It's located at 1025 Marine Avenue. Pastor Siginza was born in Guatemala, Central America. Before entering the ministry, he was an elementary school teacher for 13 years, having received a degree in humanities at the University of San Carlos in Guatemala. He came to the United States in January of 1990 to pastor Iglesia Roca Fuerte in the South Bay Area, and has relocated his ministry and congregation to Gardena. Some of his activities are Christian educator in New Image Christian Center in Inglewood from 1990 to 2004, collaborator for the Gloria March in Mexico from 2000 to 2011, church organizer of special events from 2004 to 2009, for the Ebenezer family in Carson, and logistics coordinator for the Festival of Hope held at the Home Depot Center in 2011. Pastor Siginza and his wife Emma have 3 adult children. Pastor, would you like to say anything at this time?
Sure. It's a privilege. It's be here in front of yours and the members of the City of Gardena. Our responsibility and our church is located in Marine Avenue. Every Tuesday, we take a space for praying, especially for our authorities, for the mayor, for the members, for all groups covering the cities. It's the most important for us in the church talk to God about yours, because your responsibility is our responsibility too in educating the kids, teenagers, and adults into the church. Thank you very much for this invitation for pray for City of Gardena. Thank you very much, and God bless you each one.
Thank you very much for leading us in the pledge of, in tonight's invocation, and also for the kind words at the beginning. We appreciate that. Next, we're going to move on to our military veteran that is being recognized at tonight's meeting. Tonight, we will be honoring veteran Lloyd J. Overstreet, and he was selected by Councilmember Mark Henderson. And Councilman, would you like to say a few words before I read his bio?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was an honor for me to submit Jim's bio as our veteran and everything. As we've all stated numerous times up here, it's good that we can honor those that served our country in the Vietnam War anytime, because again, the return that they received when they got home was not the warmest. So we want to make sure that we give folks their recognition now. And because he's a Navy man, so there's nothing else to be said about being a Navy man. I think that's the best. So that's all I got to say. You guys will understand once Madam Mayor reads the bio of how special Mr. Overstreet is. And he was a former council member in the city of Lawndale years ago. Oh, nice. And he's a magician, but he won't give me the oath. So that's another thing, but he's holding that close and near and dear. But I'm honored to recognize Mr. Overstreet this evening. I'll walk down.
Okay. So as Councilmember Henderson is walking down to present him with a special coin here, his bio reads as follows. Mr. Overstreet is a longtime resident of Gardena. His military service includes: Mr. Overstreet joined the U.S. Navy on July 30th, 1964, and served until honorably discharged on July 10th, 1968, at the rank of Aviation Electrician AE2. Mr. Overstreet received aviation electrician engineering training while in the Navy, making him an aviation electrician. He was stationed in Vietnam during his 4 years of service and served with the Attack Squadron 212. He also served with the 3 different aircraft carriers while in Vietnam. During his last day in Vietnam, Mr. Overstreet came close to death as he was almost struck by incoming fire. Thankfully, he made it back home safe. For his military service, he was awarded the following: the National Defense Service Medal, the Navy Unit Commendation Ribbon, 1 Bronze Star, the Vietnam Service Medal, 1 Bronze Star, the Vietnam Campaign Medal device. Also of note, Mr. Overstreet is also a professional magician. He has performed for many different types of events and lived in Las Vegas, Nevada for about 5 years. During his time in Las Vegas, he performed at Harrah's Hotel and at Caesar's Palace Hotel. Mr. Overstreet has been married for 33 years to his wife, Maria Indiana Overstreet. In addition to receiving tonight's recognition, Mr. Overstreet will also be presented with a special coin that was specifically designed to honor those military veterans of Gardena who are extended appreciation by the Gardena City Council for their service to our country. Mr. Overstreet will also receive some complimentary photographs and a DVD of tonight's meeting. Plus, one of the photos taken with the members of the City Council tonight will be displayed in the future on the electronic sign located on the northwest corner of Western Avenue and Redondo Beach Boulevard. Congratulations, honoree veteran Lloyd J. Overstreet. Would you like to say anything, sir?
Excuse me?
Would you like to go ahead and say anything?
Yeah, I would like to say a few things. First of all, thank you all for this wonderful award. I was just one person in that war over there, and I graduated from high school at Redondo High School in 1963, and the day I graduated, I had a draft notice to go in the Army. And I said, I'm not going in the Army. I'm not going to shoot and kill people. I'm not going to have people shooting and killing me. And as it turns out, I ended up having to go to Vietnam and on an aircraft carrier in the Navy. And as it turns out, I ended up coming real close to getting killed in Vietnam. The last day I was there, our commanding officer was from Riverside, and we used to talk about the South Bay all the time, and he got shot down in North Vietnam, and I had to go get his body out of the airplane, and I'll never forget that as long as I live. And I got him out, and I'll never forget, there was a big African-American dude in the chopper that came back to pick me up, and he goes, sit down on that box, and I looked between my legs, and it says blood plasma, and I said, be real careful, there's some bad guys coming down the hill there, and they all have machine guns, and they turned the chopper around, and he had a 50 caliber machine gun. He goes, they won't do that, I killed every one of them. And just being a young kid, I mean, 16 or 17, whatever I was, I just thought war is hell for everybody. And so I learned a lot as a very young kid. And I would also like to say that I'm part of the Neighborhood Watch, where we live in a senior mobile home park up on Western. And a lot of times the mayor or the sheriff and Lieutenant Lee, who's part of our Neighborhood Watch, they all come there. And I feel really honored to be a part of that too. And I have to share with you, just even recently, I see some young kid walking down the street in the middle of our park, and I go, how old are you? And he goes, 15. And I go, well, you're supposed to be 55 and older to live in here. And I go, what are you doing in here? And he goes, just looking around. I'm thinking, yeah, looking around and breaking somebody's car or somebody's house. And so part of being in that Neighborhood Watch and keeping an eye on everything to make sure that there's nothing going on that shouldn't be going on, and being associated with Lieutenant Lee and the mayor, all of you have just been so wonderful. I'm just a branch on the tree of many wonderful people, and I have to tell you that I'm really thankful that I got out of Vietnam alive, and I have to share with you too, my name is on the real Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C., and I remember I went back there, and in this winter time, and I touched the wall, and it was warm. Even though it was cold and snowing outside, the wall was warm, and I've never forgot that. And also too, at that time, George Bush was the president, and he invited me to go into the White House, and I thought, there isn't much security here. I saw a lot more security when I worked at TRW than I see here. And I walked out the back door, and there was a chopper sitting right out the back door, and a guy on a machine gun right there. And he goes, "Don't blink your eyes, I'll let you have it." And I've never forgot that. And anyway, I've had a really good life, and I've got a good life, a good wife, a wonderful son who's a community police officer in Redondo Beach, and his other half, Jessica, and their roommate over there, Felicia. Really a very nice family, and they're my local family, but you're my family too. And I am so honored to be here. I just thank all of you for this. It's really special to me, and it's something I will never, ever forget. Thank you again very much.
Thank you. Okay, so next we have a proclamation, and that is for the American Red Cross Month. Tonight we have a representative from the Red Cross, Ms. Janet Kim, if you can come forward. I'm going to read it. It reads as follows. Let's see, is this the right one here? Yeah. Okay, whereas every year since 1943, the President of the United States of America has proclaimed March as American Red Cross Month and called upon Americans to make a donation, to volunteer, to take a class, or to give blood. And whereas over 138 years ago, the American Red Cross was established as a humanitarian organization that eases people suffering during life's emergencies in our community. In California and across the United States and around the world. Whereas the local Red Cross volunteers have helped Californians after its largest earthquake in years this past July, and after back-to-back wildfires, including the Saddle Ridge, Tick, and Getty fires threatened homes across Los Angeles during the month of October. In addition, volunteers helped more than 1,950 people affected by about 350 incidents, including home fires in Los Angeles, by addressing their unit needs, life food and lodging, and providing recovery support. In addition, large disasters devastated families in other parts of the country this year. More than 275 volunteers from Los Angeles were among the nearly 9,000 Red Cross workers. 90% of them who volunteered, who left their homes to work alongside partners to provide refuge, food, relief items, emotional support, recovery planning, and other assistance. And whereas in the month of March is a special time to recognize and to thank the Red Cross volunteers and donors who've given their time and resources to help others when they are in need, and also give them a helping hand. And in collaboration with the support of the American Red Cross, the City of Gardena has sponsored a blood drive today, Tuesday, March 10th, 2020, at the Naco Community Center. So we, the City Council, proclaim March 2020 to be the American Red Cross Month and encourage the citizens of our community to volunteer, donate, take a class, give blood, and to show their support of this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. Ms. Kim?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, and fellow humble servants of the city. As a member of the Board of Directors of the Red Cross and as a resident of our great city of Gardena, I am extremely pleased to accept this proclamation on behalf of the Red Cross. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next let's move on to item number 4C, that is appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments to be made to any commissions, committees, councils, or board at this time? If not, let's move on to the consent calendar. Has every member of the council had the opportunity to take a look at it? Okay, if so, Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public who wishes to speak on any item on the consent calendar?
No, we don't.
Okay, so does any member of the council like to pull any items on the consent? If not, can I get a motion to accept the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Medina and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Cascanian. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next moving on to Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. Let's see. Does any member of the council have any comments to make on item number 7A1? No? If not, let's go ahead and receive and file. Next, we have oral communications. We have one speaker tonight, Ms. Wendy Lee. If you could please come forward. I'd like to remind our speaker that you do have 3 minutes to speak. When the yellow light comes on, that will alert you that your 2 minutes are up. And when the red light comes on, that will alert you that your 3 minutes are up. And at that time, if you could just finish up your comment. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I want to start by thanking Police Chief Safel, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, and Gardena Police Department because they joined us at our Read Across America event last Thursday at the library. And the police chief did an amazing job reading Green Eggs and Ham to the kids in attendance. And I think he has a promising second career as a children's librarian. Yes. And I would like to thank Council Member Tanaka for joining us as well, and to Erica for coordinating the partnership. It was a truly fun event, and it was that much more special because Gardena Police PD was part of it. So thank you so much. Also, we have a lot of other programs coming up for all ages at the library, so check us out at lacountylibrary.org. And lastly, we at the library, we understand the importance of the 2020 census. So soon we'll be setting up a dedicated laptop station in the library so that patrons can come to complete their census. And we want to do our part to make sure that all Gardena residents get counted. So thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our departmental items. First item up tonight is item number 8F1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8F1 is the approval of a 4th of July fireworks agreement with Pyro Spectaculars Incorporated. Staff respectfully recommends approval of the proposed agreement with Pyro Spectaculars, Inc. for the city's 56th annual 4th of July fireworks show at Raleigh Park. On April 22nd, 2019, a request for proposal for the annual 4th of July fireworks show was posted through Planet Bids. Unfortunately, the city did not receive any bids through that site. City then reached out to Pyro Spectaculars, Inc., Garden State, and Zambelli Fireworks to obtain quotes for our annual show. Pyro Spectaculars, Inc. was the lowest responsible bidder. At the February 25th, 2020 City Council meeting, the council asked that the staff research alternative options related to dates and costs. City staff contacted all 3 companies, Pyro Spectaculars, Garden State, and Zambelli Fireworks, to obtain additional options for the annual fireworks show. After a thorough review of the pricing, qualifications, and references, staff is still recommending Pyro Spectaculars, Inc. for the proposed price of $30,000 for year 1 and $35,000 for years 2 and 3. This option provides the city with a $5,000 discount for year 1 if we choose to continue our agreement after the show on July 4th, 2020, and also locks in a guaranteed price of $35,000 for years 2 and 3, which could potentially increase annually based on client demand and other contributing factors. The updated agreement would allow the city to cancel the agreement before December 31st, 2020 if we are not completely satisfied with the 4th of July show without any additional expenses or penalties. Staff is also establishing a plan to offset the cost of the annual fireworks show with vendors and/or sponsorship opportunities. We also included in the agenda report a comparison of Pyro Spectaculars, Zambelli Fireworks, and Garden State, and we actually broke it down for the average cost per minute for all 3 bids. The deciding factor would be length of show. Pyro Spectacular is actually a lot longer with approximately 18 to 20 minutes. Zambelli Fireworks is proposing 15 to 18 minutes, and Garden State is at 15 minutes. The actual show itself would be much better because of the size of the shells that they are going to be using. Pyro Spectaculars is using 2.5 and 3-inch multi-shot shells and bombardment shells, compared to Zambelli with single-shot shells and 3-inch shells. Garden State is also using single-shot shells at 2.5 and 3-inch in diameter. Lastly, the special effects with Pyro Spectacular is a lot better. They're actually doing custom bright work with American flag and a grand finale, compared to Zambelli Fireworks and Garden State with just a grand finale. So the average cost per minute for Pyro Spectacular is $1,578 compared to Zambelli at $1,424 if they do it in July 3rd, or $1,364 if they do it in July 4th, and Garden State is $1,587 per minute.
Anything else? Is that it?
That concludes my
Okay.
report. Thank you.
So before I open this up for questions, Mr. City Manager, I thank you for coming back with this information here. A lot of great detail here because it answered a lot of questions that we had. Excuse me. You know, as far as comparison to the other companies that were out there, as well as references from some of the other cities like El Segundo and Cerritos here, which is really good. And you know, after thinking about this after the last meeting, I feel a lot more comfortable potentially with going with this company here. But I'd like to open it up to my colleagues here at this time. Let's start on this end here, and we're going to work our way down.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Santine, thank you so much for upgrading. I took a lot of time in the last couple of days reading this and reading all the proposals, going through the costs. And I'm kind of with you, Madam Mayor, after reading what Ms. Santine had put together in this recent report. I think it's best that we go ahead with the better company, even though it's going to be a 3-year contract. But it will save us because they can't raise the rates on us for 3 years.
Can I ask a quick question because you just said something? I think you stated that we have up until December if we're not satisfied with.
That is for the second year.
For the second year.
After the first show, we're not satisfied, we have until December 31st of that year to cancel the contract. So you won't have.
We can cancel it for the second and third
Correct,
year.
correct.
Got it. Okay. That's the same thing. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, before I forget, sometimes I got to blurt it out. Mayor Pro Tem and then Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, Mr. City Manager, so they want us to sign the contract for 3 years, and if we don't like it by December 31st to cancel it, right? So they want us to sign the contract, obviously.
That's correct, and we are going to get the discount of $5,000 on year 1.
Okay. I mean, thank you again, Stephanie. I did go through these things because it's a lot of money. And I love the fireworks shows. I'm not against it. Nobody gets me wrong. You know, I'm not saying that, no, we're not going to do it. But $1,500 a minute just to blow up in the air, it's quite a bit money, you know. And we're not going to end up with only like $1,500 a minute. We have the security, we have lighting, we have and other expenses, which is, we talked about this last meeting, is close to $70,000 approximately, plus or minus, right? Right, Stephanie? It's about right? Yeah. So, you know, and I suggested that we put vendors in there and we get some expenses back. So do we have anybody, or did we approach any vendors, or do we have solid companies that they will come and say, okay, we'll be there, and did we discuss anything with them as far as what we're going to charge them?
So we haven't approached anyone yet. We do have vendors already that always volunteer or are anxious to participate in our events. So it would be establishing a price to participate at our event. So it would have to be reasonable enough for them to be able to make money, but also for us to offset some of the costs. One of the suggestions was also to have sponsors, either businesses in the community or someone else that would be interested in sponsoring a portion of the event so we can offset some of the costs.
If we open to the business so that we can put their banners or something on the fence?
Correct, yeah,
Advertising
that would
there.
include some advertisement.
I see. Okay, that's all, Madam Mayor. I got to think about it before. It could be, yes. Thank you.
Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to commend staff on this report, and we should probably use this as a template for future cities to, when they do their analysis for a fireworks show. But I want to say thank you for listening to our feedback up here and coming back with a report that has a lot of due diligence in there as well. And then we also have this potential opportunity to have third-party folks that participate in our Gardena weekend. So I just want to say thank you to staff for this report. This is a very good report.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to approve the agreement as is?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cascanian,
Temporary, yes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Temporary, yes.
But it's a yes, okay.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you again for that report. Okay, so we're going to move on to council item directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time? Let's start here with Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What I'm giving to all the city councilmen is, and also our city attorney and our city manager, is something that I brought up a few months back regarding U.S. Tow. And I had asked for an audit and still haven't received it, but I'm asking for an audit again. One of the reasons I'm asking for it is because if you compare the original contract, when you show the difference between U.S. Tow and Hisham's Towing, there's some receipts from way back in July, August, and September, and even I think it was November of 2019, where the city has been charged an exorbitant amount of money, and I'm trying to understand why no one has said anything about it with regards to what the city has to pay. If you look at the front page, you see that certain fees are applicable, and they were not followed through by U.S. Tow. So I'd like to ask if you could please have another audit on U.S. Tow, and if I can get a second, that'd be great. If not, at least you're aware of it.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we kind of need to turn this over to our attorney as well, because
That's why she has a copy.
right, I know, but I think the follow-up probably needs to come back from our city attorney as well.
We'll work in collaboration with their finance department to look into the matter.
Okay, because only because this is an item that we've already approved, and now we're talking about going back and doing an audit on
Well,
this
one
as
of the
well,
reasons
too.
we approved it is because they hadn't had enough time to show how long and how their process worked. Now we have enough information to say, okay, going back to August or July to now, it's been a few months, so now we have some substance as to how they perform and what they haven't done or what they have done in comparison to Hisham's Towing.
Councilmember, I will review the contract and advise the city manager.
Okay.
As to the
That's all
terms
I'm
of the
asking.
contract and as to what the data provides.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'd also like to just note on here, because some things aren't just for regular towing, it says towing for a bus, and I don't even know that that's something that falls up under the contract that we were even asking of U.S. Tow or even for Hisham's Tow, because some of the things it's referencing here, Frank Scottle's Towing Company, and it says towing for bus services, and I don't even know if that was even part of what our original contracts were for. So, I mean, if that was what was even required in there. So if a full report on all of that. Thank you. Okay, any other directors? Okay, go ahead.
If we could maybe make an inquiry into Congresswoman Maxine Waters and have her representatives pick up her signs, please. They're all over town.
Okay, now I'll second that. Any other directors? No? Okay, Mr. City Attorney, before you start your follow-up on directives, can you include in your report some updated information in regards to the coronavirus? We already started giving some information at some of our neighborhood watch meetings, and if maybe you could just share that with our audience here today with us, as well as those who are watching on TV, as far as what we know as a city and what the city is doing just in trying to keep our community safe here.
Certainly, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, city staff is actually in constant communication with the LA County Department of Public Health. We get briefings almost every day. And obviously, the safety and security of our residents, our community, and our employees is our number one priority. With that, the city recommends following both the CDC and the LA County Department of Public Health some guidelines with regards to this recent strain of the coronavirus. The first is, if you are feeling ill, stay home and don't wait until you are very, very ill. Wash your hands often for at least 20 seconds with soap and water. If that's not feasible, if that's not available, you can use alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol concentration. Cover your nose and mouth when sneezing and coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean your work surfaces frequently with approved cleaning solutions. And lastly, get the flu shot if you haven't done so already. Now, the CDC and the LA County Public Health is saying that for the most part, this strain of the coronavirus, COVID-19, the disease is caused by this strain of the coronavirus, is very much like the flu. Most infected folks will recover with no complications, with the exception of people that have compromised immune systems and those that are elderly. So the question is, if it's just like the flu, why is it so controversial? Why is it talked about? And the answer to that is because this COVID-19, this strain of the coronavirus, is a close relative of two previous coronavirus cases. COVID-19 has over 95,000 cases worldwide, maybe even more now, with only about 3,200 confirmed deaths. So the fatality rate is lower, is relatively low at about 3% compared to the flu at about 0.1 to 0.2%. Their distant cousins, which is the SARS, that was outbreak in 2002. There were 8,400 confirmed cases and about 813 deaths with an approximate fatality rate of 10%, so much higher. And then lastly, the MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, that was out in 2012. There are about 2,500 cases, confirmed cases, and about 860 fatalities, bringing the fatality rate to about 35%. So it's much, much higher than this COVID-19. But in general, what the CDC and LA County Public Health is saying is it's very much like the flu, and most people will recover over time with very little or any at all complications.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else under your city manager report?
Oh, yes. I just have, this is hot off the press. We weren't able to distribute this this week. This is in response to Councilmember Henderson's council directive, and that's the traffic information on 144th Street, from Crenshaw to Van Ness. We'll make some copies and forward that to you as soon as possible. So that's my report, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to move on to our council reports. We're going to begin tonight with Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank Chief and city staff for this report. You guys will get it. It does definitely shine some light and re-educate us on why there are no stop signs on those streets that are adjacent to 144th. What I'd like to say again, we're still waiting for the vote count, but it looked like our city was very engaged in the actual voting process, so we want to make sure that we always want to encourage everybody to get out and vote. Since our last council meeting, attended afternoon in the park, Holly Park Homeowners Association. We did a Fishbone grand opening. That was great. I missed Coffee with a Cop this morning because I was at a meeting about the COVID-19 as well. So that was it's something that it's going around LA County. So all the agencies are trying to figure out what we're going to respond to with that. Did meet some new veterans in our community and everything, trying to encourage a lot of our veterans in Gardena to participate in our veterans program, recognition program here. But a lot of these ladies and gentlemen are just kind of like, it's no big deal and everything. So I will definitely want to encourage my colleagues to, as we run across these veterans, it doesn't really matter which one of us is recognizing them. We want to make sure that we just get them in the pool so we can just recognize them each time. I think that's probably first and foremost the most important thing. Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I had the privilege and honor of going to all 7 convalescent homes, and every last Friday of the month, I always deliver half-sheet cakes for the convalescent homes because they celebrate the monthly birthdays at the end of the month. So it never fails every time I walk into a convalescent home, and they say, "Is that for me?" And I always say yes. But one of the things that I was really surprised is, and very honored of the fact that our Gardena Police Department visited Clearview Convalescent Home. And for those of you who don't know this, Clearview is the only convalescent home in Gardena that has dementia therapy and dementia meals. They have special diets for people who are developing dementia and or Alzheimer's, and they specialize in Alzheimer's therapy. So for those of you who don't know that, reach out to them and they can give you some information with regard to diet and health and as exercise for dementia. And I want to thank Chief Safel for visiting Clearview, and a lot of people didn't even know it existed. It's right across the street from Bob's on Western. So thank you, Chief Safel. I also attended the Water Association, which not good news. We're expecting, if the weather continues the way it's going now, not excluding today, we might be in for another drought.
Sorry. Sorry.
I needed that background music. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I'm just kidding. We're expecting to have a drought. As soon as I said drought, the music comes out, right? We're expecting to have a drought if the weather doesn't improve as far as rain is concerned. Right now, we sound optimistic because of the thunder that we had, but and the rain. But we do need more rain. We're really heading toward a drought season. And I also attended the Fishbone grand opening, and I actually had some of the food. You guys left kind of early, and I made up for all of them. I ate all their food. Good catfish as well. For those of you who get a chance, go by there on Rosecrans. And I also attended the Southern California Association of Governments, which we had some issues with regarding to housing and what the Regional Housing Authority is dictating to us, all the cities, all 119 cities in Southern California, as far as how much housing we're going to have, and hopefully we'll straighten that out. There was a major vote and major controversy. Our meeting started at 10 in the morning and it ended at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we got it taken care of, and hopefully we'll have good news as time comes on. And that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Cascania.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As of our last meeting, I attended the official launching of the Black News Channel on Spectrum Cable. I don't know if they're still on or not, or what channel is it on, so I didn't get all the details, but they launched it as of February 28th to be launched on Spectrum. On March 7th, I attended the grand opening of the Fishbone, and Councilman Medina, I ate the fish as well. I was there before you a little bit, so it was delicious. I encourage all the members of the community, the residents in Gardena, to go and try it out. It's pretty good. It's delicious. They have all kind of fried fish and grilled fish, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes. And they are at the corner of Rosecrans and Vermont at the Strawberry Square. It's called Fishbone. And the same day, on March 7th, I attended the beauty pageant here in the city of Gardena at Nakaka Community Center. Dan Medina was there too as well. All of us, yes, pretty much. And I had to leave a little early because I don't have the results. I don't know who won, but there were 25 contestants and they were all beautiful. That's all I can say. Attended today the Coffee with the Cups, and I saw two new business people. They were at the Coffee with the Cups at the McDonald's on Artesia and Normandy. And I asked them, how did you guys hear about this Coffee at the Cups? Because I was talking to them and they told me, the magazine, we received it in the mail. I said, which magazine? Live, Work, and Play in Gardena. So it's affecting. So people are, receiving it and, they're following up on it. So thank you to everybody that put this together. Mr. City Manager, thank you for your staff too as well. And Madam Mayor, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. And for myself, since the last council meeting, I too attended I guess it was called like an opening of the Black Channel, subsidiary of Spectrum, and it was really good, very informative, and just happy to be there. It was on a Friday night. That's a hard night to get people to come out to, but a lot of people were in attendance and very excited about the channel. Also, since the last council meeting, I attended the City of Hawthorne State of the City address, and it was really good. I also attended on last Sunday the Gardena Valley Lions, their 96th anniversary. Councilmember Medina was there as well, too. It's okay. And it was their 96th anniversary. And they also had a special community recognition of Mr. Vince Cates, who has done a lot of great things in the community, but most recently he is like the fundraiser at Sarah High School. And this is the only person I know that when you meet him, by the time you leave, he gets everybody to donate to Sarah. I mean, you just want to turn your pockets out and be like, just here, just take what I have, just stop asking me. But really, he's a great fundraiser. So they recognized him at the last, at their annual anniversary function, and that was at El Polo Inca. Also, I attended the most recent Gardena Holly Park homeowners meeting, and on last Saturday also was at the grand opening or ribbon cutting of Fishbone restaurant with my colleagues as well. And then on last Saturday evening, I too was at the 88th annual Miss Los Angeles County competition. There was 3 competitions in one, and the 23rd annual Miss Culver City competition, and the 22nd annual Miss Los Angeles County Outstanding Teen Competition. And basically, all three of these competitions in one. They were a beauty pageant. As was mentioned earlier, very beautiful women, very talented women. Just hearing some of the backgrounds that some of these young ladies had. One lady that just kind of stands out in my mind, she graduated from Yale, and in her spare time, she's like at UCLA, she was like a medical student. And she was like this amazing Tahitian dancer as well. And I mean, all these great talents that all of these young ladies had, and that was just to name one. But I didn't get a chance to stay for the end, but I'm sure it was very hard trying to judge that. Again, it was a great event to attend. This is the 3rd year that I know that we've had it here in the city of Gardena. And I think because the city of Gardena is always so welcoming to the pageant that they want to make this their regular place every year to host this pageant. So it's really a great event to attend. They're always looking for more people to attend this. And I tell people all the time, in Gardena, there's always something going on, like every weekend. And I'll probably just do a quick shout out right now, but if you didn't know it, this coming weekend we're having our annual Koi show that's happening this particular Saturday. Last Saturday was the Cymbidian show that was, I believe it was here in the Rush Gym, but it's always something happening in our city. And a lot of just great events, chess tournaments. So just look on our calendar, you'll always find fun things to attend. And on yesterday, I flew to Sacramento as a representative of the committee that I sit on, the CCGA, which is the California Cities Gaming Authority, where we deal with issues affecting our casinos. And I testified in a hearing in regards to the Bureau of Gambling Commission. Right now, unfortunately, they're not doing a very good job in regulating our casinos, and they're asking the Attorney General is asking for an additional $5 million for more employees. And basically, we were going up there to say, you're not even doing a good job with the current amount of employees you have. You guys were recently audited, and it showed that your findings were terrible. You have three employees that govern over one license, and you're not getting the job done, versus other organizations like the medical board. They have one employee that handles 968 licenses. And, you know, now they're asking for more money. So our position was, we were saying, do not give them more money because they're not doing a good job right now. So I flew up and came back yesterday, and I did my part. So that ends my report. Next up is Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I did attend Clearview Convalescent, and talking to the owner, I believe they've been there for over 60 years. So it's a very nice facility. Did the South Bay City's Council of Governments, met in Redondo. Afternoon in the park, I missed that, but there was a young man that I consider my son. It was his engagement party, so I couldn't miss that. So I had to be there, so I apologize. Did the Mamie Deer Library, and the chief was the biggest kid in the room.
Wow.
Does a great job. The kids just swarmed him, so thank you, Chief. You guys, the department did a great job at the Mamie Deer. LA County League of Cities, we met at First Five, which is at the train station downtown. And First Five is an organization right now that is trying to get kids 0 to 5 prepared for kindergarten. So this is a big program that's coming out. They're starting to implement it and then push some of the requirements. So look for that. Did the Fishbone #2 grand opening, and yes, the fish is good there. So stop by and try it. And did coffee with a cop this morning. Thanks, Chief. That was a great turnout. Everybody came out in the rain. It was a really good event. So that ends my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And let's see, with that, the only announcement I have is next week we have our State of the City address, which was scheduled for March 19th, Thursday, March 19th, 2020. But due to the recent coronavirus and so many people are a little nervous about attending functions such as this, we've decided to postpone it at least for 2 months at this time. A lot of things right now, unfortunately, are getting postponed, and we just think it would be in our best interest to postpone it. So we will let you know moving forward what the new date will be. So with that, we have no adjournments tonight. Any remembrances tonight, and we'll move on to our adjournment here. The Gardena City Council meeting will adjourn to our next regular scheduled City Council meeting, which will be on 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. We are adjourned.
Good job, Madam Mayor.
With regards to the buses, if you look at the first page, the buses are towed for free.
I know, but because